Hello, everybody, and welcome to Week 5 of the A Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 3. I'm Joss Masas here with my co-commentator Lumaga, and with a special thanks to Leolia, our tracker, and Math Girl, our restreamer. We've got an exciting mystery seed for you this week, a matchup between the 7-1 We Need a Mentor with VortexofDoom versus RickyofKokiri from the 4-4 Guardians of the Galaxy Brain. Hello again. My name is Joss Masas, and we're here with my co-commentator Lumaga. Lumaga, how are you doing today?
I was great until I just saw that this is an Atomizer seed. Let's hope that this is pretty nice for these two runners.
Yeah, we can get a lot of information from that starting screen, can't we? You get to see that Atomizer engine on the bottom. We also have a boot start, so that'd be fun.
Yeah, no sword, so a couple of options we'll have to figure out. Is it maybe standard assured and we pick it up from Uncle? No, that would actually show up here. Maybe it's randomized or vanilla. Maybe it's swordless. We're going to have to figure out a lot of things along the way here.
Yeah, one thing to note too, we know it's not going to be an entrance rando because you don't get any starting equipment like the boots in an entrance start. So we're going to have a normal world. We might have a Triforce hunt. We'll have to find out too.
Underway, starting at Sank and Link's house, these two runners quickly finding a compass, telling us that this is at least a compass shuffle.
And there's a flute start as well. They've got a flute equipped already. So flute and boots to start. This could be a quick one, mobility-wise at least.
Oh, that's awesome. So actually, that did not show up in the start screen, but it's a known issue. However, it is an activated flute here in open. If this were a standard, they'd have to go activate it themselves.
And the enemies are in the right spot, so it's likely a boss shuffle of some type. Oh, just kidding. There is a weird one, so we do have random enemies all over the place here.
Aha, yeah, that stealth host for sure. The crow kind of threw me off, but these are the enemies that hide in the grass.
And it's also a map shuffle as well, because we saw a map. Just for the viewers, it's not an automatic key sanity just because we have the compasses, the maps. The maps, compasses, small keys, and big keys are all randomized separately in terms of the mystery weights. So we could have a little bit of everything or some of none. So they're all individual rolls. We'll have to wait and see what we find later.
Yep, and the command just posted into chat here should give you the kind of cheat sheet information of what is weighted how.
Well, there's a key, so that's definitely mixed small keys out in the world. So we'll have to see if the big keys are also shuffled. But at this point, we're almost to a full key sanity.
Right, and while it may make some sort of bearing here, we still don't know what our goal is. There's a couple of things that it could be. Maybe, oh god, this back of escape is awful.
One of the fun aspects of Atomizer is rooms that are packed full of normally harmless enemies suddenly become full of Lionels and berries.
Yeah, so now that I've caught my breath after that, there are a few things that we could have. We could have a normal defeat Ganon 7/7. Could be some reduced crystals, fast Ganons in one, and could be a pedestal goal. The only thing we know that it's not is a Triforce hunt.
And another thing to point out is since we do see a 00 there by the arrow count, we know it's a normal bow and arrow out in the world, not a rupee bow. That's another special mystery weight that we could have. See Quake. We don't know if it's a swordless seed yet, but that Quake could be really handy in some of these rooms full of enemies if they find a sword.
So we got a medallion, an ice rod, we got a small turtle rock key. Seed might be setting us up for something a little nasty soon enough. Because it's very possible that it's still boss Atomizer, right? We do know that it's overworld Atomizer. That ice rod could come into play with the Trinex.
Yeah, you make a good point. The boss shuffle is still an option. As we find a moon pearl in the back of the well, so that'll be really good. Since we're almost to Dark World access with just a hammer or another pair of gloves. But you mentioned with the boss shuffle, that could put any boss in any place. So you could walk into Blind's hut or into Thieves' Town and find Trinex right there where Blind's supposed to be, among other crazy shenanigans.
Yeah, there are actually a few restrictions, but for the most part, it's fair game as who's in what room. And some of the oh gosh, this chicken hut turned into a barracks.
Now, if you're looking at the screen and seeing all those guards and say, wow, this looks really fun, you got to come back with us on week 7 because that's going to be co-op Randomizer, where every race that week is 2 teammates working together in a world all sorts of randomized. As we get a small key to Desert Palace in the Tavern. That's a really important small key. It's the only one you need for Desert Palace to access a couple items.
Yeah, so we already saw that the boot start paid off by going into the Bonk Rocks. There's a small key, so a couple things open right away when you have a nice boot start. This one's a small key to Thieves' Town.
Yeah, it's another important small key for items because it'll let you access the big chests in Thieves' Town. It's the only thing you get from that small key. The real small key we want to see probably is Swamp Palace. You got to have a small key just to get into the dungeon. As we see a cape on the race game, that could be important if there's an AGA aspect or many other things.
Yeah, good move to stun those guards for a couple of bucks, but it's money nonetheless. You're going to need money for something in the future. So your first, target here, aside from getting enough overworld equipment, is you need to get the information off of the pyramid. So you got to get Dark World access and pyramid access, so you can read that sign and see what am I supposed to be working towards.
Yeah, and so far, neither player has any sort of weapon. Ice Rod does help freeze, same with the boomerang, but not any way to actually kill an enemy except for a bomb. So it's going to be kind of tough to get into places like Mini Moldorm or go through the escape right now.
Well, Vortex does have a full complement of bombs, so he could still maybe misplace 1 or 2 in the Moldorm cave, and although there may not be Moldorms, it's Randomizer.
Ooh, looks like Shadows, maybe Stalfos. Oh, yep, Shadows.
Yeah, this is going to be tricky with the bomb.
The nice thing is I believe you can hit them in their spawn spot, so I don't think they actually have to be active. Although their spawn spots are inside the walls right now and in the pit, so it's going to be a little hard to get them that way. Oh, he does manage to get one in the wall.
Yeah, oh, he was going to take a death with that fall, but did a good effort. Let's see how Ricky does. Nope, he's going to skip this. Maybe he just accidentally triggered the flute.
Vortex going to head down there and see what it looks like in the back of Escape with all those Lionels and berries and guards. Oh, that's tough. He did get a bonk off. He just slightly missed the hole to make that wall open up, but that's a tough one. That's just a surprise for everybody. What a great mode Randomizer is.
Well, he could still use this boomerang and the ice rod to maybe freeze these guards, but he's got to be quick on the draw. And yeah, second time, this is going to be tough.
Now Ricky has the cape, and that's going to be helpful for that because he can turn into the cape. Use the cape there. Vortex hasn't gotten that yet off the race game, so we'll have to see what he chooses to do here. Oh,
that's the second time he's tried to bonk, and it hasn't opened up. Let's see if we can get it this time. This is not a fun place to be. There he goes.
There he goes. Got the hole open. Well worth the effort. Hopefully, we'll see what's in the boxes here.
Okay.
So we get the fire rod and a 20 rupees, which probably is the replacement for the boots or the flute. But that's our first real weapon of the game here.
Yeah, that green 20 could be a few things. So you mentioned the boots, but it could be an indication of maybe some missing swords in the item pool. In hard, the swords actually get replaced with those 20 rupees, and you're only up to a tempered or master sword in expert mode. Or armors could be a replacement for your armor too.
And Ricky making a water walk up to the waterfall fairies. Really dangerous in Enemizer because anything is possible. You see guards can walk on water there, but he does a good job of getting up to there, the waterfall. Pain-free, threat-free. If you're in this water walk state or in the fake flippers and you get hit, you're going to instantly die. So it's a big threat in Enemizer, but he's making it through pretty good there.
And that fire rod paying off because there's a much easier way to get those shades than bombs.
So that's 220 rupees now. So that covers the flute and the boots. There's the mitts. So we have Dark World access now.
Yep, do have Dark World access via the Lost Woods portal, but no hammer, so you still need to find your way around the pyramid. If we get a hammer, then you can get through it.
Well, Vortex could make a play for Skull Woods and find out if there's a hole in the drapes there, but looks like he's going to go up here to check the ledge and maybe look at the mire shed. Normally, Skull Woods, you need to have a sword to switch the drapes open to go up to Mothla, but in Swordless, that's already open for you.
And actually, he could figure out if it's Swordless here. Actually, no, he couldn't. I think he still needs a hammer to trigger that medallion.
And I just missed that. Was that Quake on Mr. Meyer or something else?
I believe it was. All right, not gonna.
Small key to Castle Tower. We're not sure if we're going to need that or not, but remember there are 2 checks in Aga, in the Aga Tower that could be something because it's a key sanity. We still don't know if the big keys are shuffled, but maps, compasses, and small keys are definitely wild in the world. As we get a King's Tomb check here.
So our restream, our math girl, is explaining a little bit of the swordless logic, and I believe this is correct. Anything in the normal game that would require a master sword, you're going to see it will need a hammer. So that's your tablets, reading the book off the tablets. But anything else, like the medallions, would just need the medallion itself. And that is a sword in its vanilla location on Uncle. We could be looking at vanilla swords here.
Yeah, and when we say vanilla swords, we mean the swords will be in the same locations as they are in the vanilla game, on the Master Sword pedestal. Blacksmith will have one, and the Water Pyramid Fairy, but they're still progressive, so it doesn't matter what order you get them in, it's going to increase your sword by 1.
Yeah, so it's very unlikely you're going to get that Master Sword off the pedestal, and it's probably likely, it's more likely you're going to get to wind up with just a Master Sword at all.
We still don't know what the crystal count is to be able to defeat Ganon or get into GT. We will find that out if someone goes up to the pyramid or up to GT. There'll be signs outside of both those buildings to tell us what the goal for Ganon and for the GT entrance. In this format, the earliest it could be is 3 crystals in order to get into Ganon's tower or defeat Ganon. Of course, it can go all the way up to 7 on both of those, but you could have a mix.
Well, here's what you were talking about going up to Skull Woods. We do know that it's not swordless, so those vines in the back are not going to be removed. But a lot of things still to check out in Thievestown. We do have a small key pickup. Oh, that was also on Ricky's side. So you can still at least check the front four. And if the big keys are not shuffled, and we don't have confirmation on that yet, could possibly finish out Thievestown? No, he does not have a weapon to hit blind.
Yeah, this is one of those pain points with Enemizer, because the Uncle area could have had anything. It wasn't an obvious play to go in there yet, where Ricky had already seen it, I believe, because he's the one who started. Was Ricky the one who started with the Sank, or did he start with Link's house?
Ricky started with Sank.
So Vortex has seen the Uncle already, I believe, or seen the... Did he go in Uncle at all? I honestly can't remember.
No, actually, Ricky's the only one who went there. Just picking up that sword off of the Uncle.
Yeah, and boss shuffle is still possible. We don't know until... actually, if Vortex goes right into Blind's room, we'll see him. Because in boss shuffle, you don't have to bring the maiden back up to trigger a fight. They'll just have someone there, including Blind. As Ricky's waiting patiently for all those shadows to appear. Does have the hook shot, though. It'll make that a lot easier.
Yeah, this will be his pickup with Titan Smiths and get his Dark World access.
It's interesting to see here because Vortex had those mitts early and made the play for the Dark World on the village area here, but Ricky has all the equipment to be able to complete those, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of advantage he can make with those, being able to complete Thievestown with weapons. I'll, of course, get into Skull Woods and beat Mothula if he wants to.
We did see the big key to Thievestown picked up in his vanilla chest and in the front four. It did not give us a text box. We do know that it's not big key shuffle, but there's another way actually to tell. We saw him menu, and on the bottom of your menu, you'll see small keys and big keys if each of those are shuffled, and there's no big key. So we do have confirmation on that. All right, that bottle returned to Sick Kid for 50 rupees out of his piggy bank.
Yeah, give him a nice half of a gift card for a potion later. Meanwhile, the bottle vendor takes it all back, only giving back $20 after that $100 deposit.
So here's an interesting thing. We still don't know all the settings because we don't know about the boss shuffle, but we did see 2 green 20 rupees, right? 20 green rupees, which are replacements for things in the item pool. And we do have vanilla swords, it seems, most likely. Would that mean that we're still only able to get up to the tempered sword in hard mode, and then the last one would be replaced with the 20?
That's an interesting question. I don't. Yeah.
So I can't say for sure. All right, so Vortex checking Bumper Ledge without a cape. Ricky got the cape out of the maze game. Today, not going to really matter, other than being a good safety item.
Yeah, with Enemizer, that can be a huge safety. Just being able to blow through certain certain areas of the game that just might have, again, Lionels or Pokies, things that will just take away half your life with one hit.
All right, Vortex heading over towards Dark Graveyard area. Only thing left for him to do up here would be, catfish, and he's going to check the goal. He did set up a water walk earlier in, I believe, the Skull Woods area. So we are going to see what our goal is today.
Yeah, you can set up a water walk there. There's a hole on the southeast side of Skull Woods. You just kind of run across it, bonk the tree, walk around it, and you will store a water walk to be able to hop over. You can also do what's called the Kern jump, where you use a bomb to get into a fake flipper stand. So 2 different ways that you can cross that stream a little earlier than the game intends you to.
Yeah, the only way to get over here right now in logic would be if they found a hammer somewhere, or if they found enough keys to go up Agate Tower, which they'd actually also need a lamp for logic. So this is a nice skip ahead of where they logically should be.
And Ricky doing the same thing with the water walk there as well. But he's also bringing the bullfrog there that's going to turn into the blacksmith later. Taking him on a world tour adventure to see everything in the Dark World.
And all he wants to do is get back home to his Smith brother.
He's just one screen away normally, but today he's going everywhere.
All right, so goal incoming. Oh, this mimic is truly mimicking Vortex getting in his way.
Speaking of mimics, there's some weird stuff with Enemizer where you should be able to defeat all the mimics, and you won't get stuck in a room where you need the bow, like in Pod, because of mimics at least. So there are some nice changes for quality of life when you have to deal with Enemizer. Except for all the Lionels.
Okay, so the pyramid is closed. It is not a fast Ganon, but you do only need 3 crystals. One of which is in Turtle Rock, one of which is in Skull, and we know that Mire is our green pendant. I'm sorry, Swamp, not Skull.
So really what that means is it doesn't matter how many crystals you're going to get for Ganon, because you still have to climb Ganon's tower and beat Agate 2 to open up that hole, and it's going to take at least 3 crystals to get into Ganon's tower. So that's the requirement that's really going to matter in the seed if it's higher than 3. We could have a 6 or 7 crystal Ganon's tower, which makes really that's how many you're going to have to get to beat Ganon 2.
Right, yeah, this is only for Ganon vulnerability.
And for those of you following the weights, wondering, what's the likelihood this happens? That's only a 10% chance that we get a 3 crystal Ganon. So it's much higher likely to get a 6 or a 7 crystal Ganon Ganon's tower.
Which is good for the runners, right? Then they don't have to spend the time looking for those, but with reduced crystals in GT, you could actually wind up with a required item in GT for another dungeon that you'll have to finish. You're getting some really weird scenarios, and there's pretty much confirmation of our vanilla sword, Smith having that second sword. Unless, of course, the randomizer just happened to put it there, but I think that's unlikely.
Ricky's going to be able to head over with the hookshot in Death Mountain to head over to Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, and a few other places, as well as check in the Dark World, Hookshot Cave, and Super Bunny. So a lot of checks he can make here because he has that hookshot.
Ooh, Candace and Maria.
So we still haven't seen any bosses yet, I believe. We weren't able to check thieves down yet. Or did Vortex do that?
Vortex, I believe, had checked those out.
So nothing too much in the top of, or the bottom of Paradox Cave, but that Canis Samaria is a pretty big find, just to make some of the dungeons easier, and you never know if we're going to need it for Ganon's Tower. Since we know that the big key to Ganon's Tower is in Ganon's Tower, since the big keys aren't shuffled.
Yeah, if that winds up on the right side, and you never grab that cane, well, you better go search for it.
Did you see Vortex getting the small key for Swamp Palace off the dig game? And Swamp Palace is a crystal, so a beer and a hammer or so away from being able to get that crystal done.
But there's two. But, small key, you're not going to get inside without it. All right, Vortex also taking the Smith on a tour of the South Dark World. Mountain pretty empty aside from that cane.
Vanilla shovel. It won't be digging up a vanilla flute though.
No, certainly not. But it is another thread to go down.
That's interesting since Vortex has the blacksmith. I wonder if he's going to find that fighter sword off blacksmith first, and then realize it's vanilla and head to Uncle. If that'll trigger anything for him.
Yeah, definitely easiest two swords to get. The others, of course, in the Pyramid Fairy and on the pedestal. All right, we got two nice caves, a Hive Cave and a Super Bunny. So far, just a bow in Hive Cave for any prizes there.
We see we're missing the medallion for Turtle Rock, and we're going to need Ether for that. But who knows if we need Turtle Rock today. Hopefully Ricky's going to go over to Ganon's Tower and check the sign in a minute.
Yeah, with 3 crystals needed for Ganon, Turtle Rock is probably one of those dungeons you're going to hope to avoid. Only way you'd probably have to do it is maybe it's a 6 or so GT entrance, and you get locked out of another dungeon. You have to do it.
The Vortex has his sword from the blacksmith, and we're going to be interested to see, does that trigger the Vanilla Swords idea, and does it make him go to Uncle? He's got a few other checks he wants to make, like the shovel, to see what's going on there first.
Well, Ricky got his way up here today. Our entrance to GT is all 7 crystals, so he's not happy to see that.
All right, a full open 7, basically 7/7 with Enemizer.
Well, that's a blue item in the flute spot. So we're close, right?
Yeah, good enough. And that's a pretty good safety, too, again, because he doesn't have the cape. Did he decide not to do race game?
Yeah, he did not do race game, but he did see the bumper ledge and knows that it's just 5 rupees, so probably not spending the time to get it. But as you were suggesting, he did recognize that the blacksmith had a sword, and here's his master sword.
Yep, and I believe Hookshot is right here, too, as well.
Yeah. So we've seen Saha, but I don't believe we've seen Eastern. And with this being an Enemizer, we know that the bow is a good pickup for Vortex, but not going to need it to get past rooms that are locked by the bow. It actually removes those. I think you mentioned that. But following that hook shot up to the nearly empty Paradox Cave, we'll pick up a Canis Samaria out of this and get some scouting from Ricky into Skull Woods. With that fire rod and the sword, he could take this all the way to the back.
And I believe we still don't even know our item pool yet. We could still be on hard or expert, I believe. There is a 5% chance of expert and a 25% chance of hard.
Yeah, the only indication that we're on any of those is the 2 20 green rupees that we found, one of which is more than likely the boots.
Oh, and chat's right.
Could one of them have also been the flute?
Yeah, I mean, we did see the 2 that would replace the flute in the boots right on there. And chat is right. You can only get 3 heart containers in expert. We're past that, so we know it's not going to be that. You can get 7 in hards, so we'll have to keep a count. As well, 16 heart pieces, so we'll have to kind of pay attention to the heart levels there and see if that affects it. Or if we just find a male as well.
Well, we are on a total of 10 hearts for Ricky, so if he gets any more, then we know it's not hard. All right, and Ricky, heading into the boss room just a few screens away, will finally tell us what boss mode this is. Oh, okay, Mothra was here, so very likely not a boss shuffle.
Although I love that the spikes are turning into those bombers as they come across.
Yeah. Would they still damage you as hard as spikes? Would be an interesting question here.
I mean, I think they hurt you more when they're out in the world, so I hope they don't hurt you. But Inamizer does a lot of stuff to the coding, right? You see a lot of different stuff that's not really there sometimes.
Oh, he almost had that moth fight. Oh, that fairy's going to help him finish it up. Okay, so did he and Mothula actually die at the same time? Because once he revived, Mothula died.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Still counts, I guess, but you gotta take that fairy payment first. Speaking of fairies, you see Vortex got his fairy in a bottle from Hookshot Cave as he finishes up some of the Dark Death Mountain checks. He's gonna go over to GT and find out soon that he needs to clear the whole game, basically, crystal-wise. Now, even though that the big keys are shuffled, the big keys are not shuffled, because we have small keys shuffled, you never know, we might be dipping into some pendant dungeons, and it might be close enough to where the pedestal comes into play, so we'll have to see how that goes with the small key makeup, especially if dungeons like Pod, if that ends up being a crystal, we'll have to see what happens.
All right, now we did see Vortex head over to Misery Mire earlier without a sword. Now he's got the sword. Wonder if he wants to make a second trip over there. Nah.
And while we're watching the runners finish up a couple checks, don't forget to give your runners a follow. You can see their Twitch channels in the chat. Definitely happy to have them on the restream to be able to watch such an awesome race.
So great use of the cape for a really bad room in Skull Woods. 2 high noxes and a big spike. And Vortex going to pick up that cape. Probably realizes this is probably going to be a bit more difficult than he wants it to be, so let's get some safeties.
Yeah, it sounds like he might have forgot to look at it earlier. In the chat, they were talking about how he might have missed it, and now that he sees it, yeah, definitely got to get that. Sometimes it's better to take 40 seconds here and grab that than dying later in the game to Lionels or crystal rollers or all sorts of nonsense you could get in Animizer. One of the rooms that are the most dangerous potentially in Animizer is that room right before the Armos room, Eastern Palace. You've got eight monsters in there. It could be anything. So that cape might be helpful there too. Although he does have the Cane of Burn, that also helps.
I think this is our first look at the escape also. I don't recall Ricky going down there, but let's see, what do we need yet? We definitely need a hammer and flippers in a mirror. So still on the lookout for those 3 big items. Oh, no, our tracker and chat telling me that Bombos down in Ricky's inventory was from the chest in Zelda's cell.
So knowing that the big key to Misery Mire is going to be in Misery Mire, and that Vortex has everything he needs to do to clear it, I would bet the Misery Mire is going to have some progression or something going on there. So we'll have to see if he's going to head there next.
Yeah, not a bad move. You're on enough health and sufficient firepower to do so.
And we also know these runners are definitely capable of handling a low equipment Vitreous too. We've seen them do that in the past. So I don't think that's going to be a stopper as much as maybe they're thinking of some other checks first.
One of the in-logic checks we're not going to do, at least right now, is Dark Cross, because do have the Fire Rod, although as you were just calling out, the Dark Rooms are not a great place to go in Animizer. So if there's something in Dark Cross, probably have to wait for the lamp.
And Vortex, though, it seems good to go in Eastern Palace as well. Nice, easy dungeon, quote-unquote easy in Animizer, right? But since Armos is going to be there, and he does have the bow, he'll be able to take care of this place, assuming he gets through all the randomized enemies.
Yeah, and that's confirmation, of course, that it's not boss shuffle, because there was no boss at the boss room of Thieves Town. It could have been possible the boss shuffle shuffled Mothula to its vanilla room, but we know that's not the case.
And just to reiterate, this is a 3-7, or 7-3, I guess. So it's pretty much an open 7-7, where we need 7 crystals to get up to Ganon's tower. Ganon is vulnerable at 3, but since you need the 7 to get to Ganon in the first place, it's virtually a 7-7. So it's going to play out a lot more like a normal, at this point, like a normal open randomizer with 7 crystals.
Yeah, and just a few other settings. Of course, you see that it's, in case you missed it, we do have Animizer, and we have determined that it is vanilla swords, so may stick with Master Sword for a long time unless they get an easy route to get that Pyramid Fairy open.
Right, and of course we have kind of a modified key sanity where maps, compasses, and small keys are shuffled all over the world, but big keys are being found in their vanilla dungeons.
Yep, good old classic MCS shuffle. Alright, not a bad way through some dark rooms on Vortex End, but unpleasant enemies. They're those fire bars.
It's hard to call it a dark room when there's fire everywhere. Ricky dealing with some aggressive guards. They're a little tough and they're a little quick, but he's making it through to bring Blind, the maiden, who's going to turn into Blind, of course, right here for the boss fight.
And starting off his Blind fight with a good first phase of the script. Just make sure you poke instead of swinging too many times. You get the timing down, and this fight becomes trivial and consistent every time you do it. All right, not too bad. That third phase kind of got away from him, but took down Blind for our Pendant of Power. We still don't know where that last pendant is. Could be Eastern, could be Pod, and Ice Palace. So Vortex will let us know what Eastern is in just a moment.
And as we said, Innomizer can turn some of the innocuous rooms of the game into some of the most threatening. As you saw, the first dark room he went through had a chain chomp, some crystal rollers, all sorts of nonsense. And here as he makes his way through the Zelda Gamer room, the next room is going to be quite a surprise, I'd imagine.
Well, that's surprising.
At least they're easy in this one. Like I said, week 7 is Innomizer. Every game's going to be like this. The stuff that can happen in this room is just, who knows? You got to come just for this one of these rooms. It's almost refreshing to see Armos. Like, oh, okay, normal stuff.
Very nice quick kill setup. Big 20 and a crystal. So Pod or Ice Palace are our last pendant.
One of the things to point out is when we start the game with a map shuffle, you don't actually know what the dungeon prizes are. But once you retrieve a map, you're going to see on the map what that dungeon prize is. That's the primary value of getting a map in one of these shuffles. So it can be helpful if the runners pick up either the Ice Palace or the Pod map. They'll get to see which one is a crystal.
Yeah, in this mode, maps are useful, and the compasses are practically useless. They do give you a counter of how many items you've picked up in a dungeon, but other than that, no real value.
And honestly, those compasses can be deceiving because if you're in a place like Desert Palace where there's an item on the torch, you might have skipped it, and then you notice you're at 7 of 8 items, and you're like, wait, did I miss one? It actually tricks you into misthinking instead of the other way around.
Alright, our 5-6 crystals are both locked behind a mirror. We could get up to Harrow with a hammer. 2 big items plus the flippers, which we're missing still. All right, both these runners kind of following each other's tracks, and nobody seems to want to dip Pendant Misery Mire with the equipment needed to get in there and through there. I think you proposed progression being in there earlier, and I'm starting to agree with you.
Yeah, but it totally makes sense to go to Skull Woods. It's a crystal. It's a known crystal. Vortex has everything it needs to beat Mothula. There's 2 checks essentially there. You might as well clear that stuff out before you go somewhere new. You can totally understand that. Plus, it's not too bad with the Inimizer setting. A couple rooms here, nothing too bad. And just a reminder, we think this is vanilla swords, so anybody trying to crunch the numbers on pedestal, it's going to be a sword, since we believe it to be vanilla. Highly unlikely that the randomizer just happened to give us a sword on Blacksmith and a sword on Uncle.
Yeah, it's possible, but don't bet on it. If we find a sword anywhere else, my next Twitch stream will have me eating my hat or something.
Will we at least get to vote on what kind of sauce you put on the hat?
Sure. Yeah, yes. It's probably a sub incentive or something like that.
The hottest Tabasco around. As we see the little bomb dudes, I don't know what their names are, but as the spikes put on their late Halloween costume, it makes it a little bit more interesting to see.
Yeah. Oh, still has that fairy in the bottle, just as Ricky did. So, round 2.
As Ricky walks around in the dark rooms in Eastern Palace that we've already seen from Vortex, so they're just sort of crossing over each other's paths right now. While we're just waiting for some new progression here, we'll take a minute to shout out for the crew. Thank you so much, Leoria, for our tracking, and to Math Girl for restreaming today. And of course, give everybody a follow if you could. Co-commentary Lumaga, and my name is Jossum Sauce. We thank y'all for being here.
Okay, so no hammer, Turtle Rock's not in logic, Pod is not in logic, no mirror, can't get through to Swamp Palace, no flippers. Mire's got to be the next stop. Unless they find a book in one of the few locations they have. And actually, there's still something sitting in Dark Cross, which is in logic, but it would be pretty difficult to make it through there. You don't know what enemies are in there.
Yeah, this room with all the crystal rollers and the chain chomps, it's nice in the normal mode where you see, there's 2 chain chomps just in that one room in Turtle Rock. Well, here in Inimizer, you could have 40 chain chomps. You never know. I do not wish that on anybody.
Of course, they do have gloves, but no flippers. They could fake flipper their way into Ice Palace. No hammer, though, so you can't beat it.
Yeah, and I think, though, whatever item is in there is going to be locked by, obviously they're locked by the flippers, but the flippers could be in Misery Mire or somewhere else first. Or, you can get those other things first. Like the mirror would open up Desert Palace and a few other places, and you never know. So there's a couple progression items left. My bet is to go for that green pendant Mire next. What's interesting is we don't have any pod keys yet. We haven't seen any small keys for pod, so that may be an indication that maybe that's just going to be a quick clear, or it's a pendant dungeon, but it's hard to tell. It's a lot of speculation there. Yeah,
for all we know, all of your pod keys could be in Mire and Turtle Rock, and that's the last place you have to go. Yet to be seen.
And as we watch the runners complete dungeons the others has already gotten to, just a reminder, this is only week 5 of our 7-week Links to the Past Randomizer League. It's mystery all week, so everything you see is going to be crazy like this. Could be even crazier. Who knows? Next week we have All Dungeon Key Sanity. So if you like these keys being spread out all over the world, check that out. It'll be one-on-one racers trying to clear every dungeon in the game, including Aga Tower and Ganon's Tower before fighting Ganon. And then week 7 is Co-op Randomizer Info Share. It's a 7-7 open, kind of a normal style, but the runners can talk to each other and share information as they work as a team 2-on-2. So definitely keep following us, keep watching us. We're going to have a lot more league action coming up next few weeks. Not to mention playoffs after that.
Yeah, be sure to check the schedule for full details. There's plenty of mystery still left. It's only Wednesday in the week 5. We'll go through Sunday. And also, start maybe taking a look at the standings here. At about week 5, you can start to see the playoff picture forming, right? We Need a Mentor here, tied for first in the Tower of Terror division, Guardians of the Galaxy Brain, not too far behind, at least standings-wise. So a lot of ways that the picture could shape up in the next few weeks.
And the top 2 teams in each division for the Open League, at least, will make the playoffs. So there'll be a 16-team playoff in a few weeks as well. So it's really exciting to see who's vying for those top 2 spots in each division. And these 2 teams are definitely in the action for sure. So we'll have to see where Vortex goes here after the blind fight. Like we said, I think the Mire is the place you want to go next, but there are maybe a few places to check on the way. Same thing with Ricky. They're about even on checks for the most part, so we'll have to see what happens next.
Yeah, even on checks, even on crystals, pendants, and equipment. This is still anybody's race. It's just a race to who finds those 3 key items first, and then how do you deal with them? How do you route those out?
Vortex, remembering he does have the big key to Skull Woods, so he's going to check that big chest here just to find some arrows, as everything from the ceiling rains on top of him there with those Stalfos.
And Ricky, going to be a bit disappointed at this mushroom turn-in. Vortex, I believe, safe scummed it earlier. Yeah, just a map.
It can't be too disappointed, though, when you're making a stop for 2 blue potions. That'll really help him out the rest of the game. And I'll point out, though, even though we haven't found any mail or silvers yet, we're at 11 hearts now. I'm not sure if Ricky has gotten 4 pieces of hearts, though, because that could have influenced it. But there's a lessening chance that we're in hard mode items, or hard items pool. We'll have to keep watching for that.
All right, so purple chest we've not seen. And I believe chat also calling out that Zora has not been seen as well. Wow, Agina had not been seen, and there's our hammer. That opens up a few things for Ricky. And finding it that late, he's the first one to find it, but finding it that late feels bad because you think your opponent probably found it half an hour ago.
And what's interesting is Vortex making that play to check Misery Mire Shed early didn't check Agina first as part of that. So, but maybe after Misery Mire here, he's going to go check that. So let's see if I was totally wrong on Misery Mire here. So let's hope from my thoughts at least that something good's in there. But like you said, whenever you find a major progression item in a early sphere check or in the first wave check, you know, it always feels kind of awkward because you wonder, well, how long has my opponent had this?
Well, it's also an awkward spot. Agena can typically be ignored by runners until they find a good way to route it in. Early game, it's a big gamble going there because it's unlikely you'll have access to desert, and you're only going there for Agena, which doesn't typically pay off. So I don't blame these runners for not doing it right away.
In the chat, making a really good point. They've both cleared Thieves Town, and they just now got access, from that first wave hammer to the big chest. So maybe something big like the flippers or something is in that chest. We'll have to see if the seed pushes them all the way back to there at the end, or who knows what's going to happen there.
That's a very good point. So
Ricky choosing to use that hammer right away to head up to Tower of Hera. Looks like we're going to see a Hera pot attempt here.
A few different ways to do this, and I think I've seen all 3-4 different ways to set up the Hera pot. He's going to just place the bomb on the right pixel, move to a second pixel, and hook into the pot like so. So we've got vanilla swords. We seem to be having some vanilla big keys, right? Hera's big key is in the basement. Eastern's big key was in its vanilla spot, and then Thieves Town also had its big key in its big spot. Maybe Vortex will find another vanilla big key here in Mire.
And you're seeing with Moldorm another one of those special flavors that we get with Enemizer, where even though the boss is still in the right spot, it's a little messed up. So we've got Super Eye Moldorm there, kind of like we had those spikes in Mothula. Still the same boss, though.
Yeah, in Enemizer, Moldorm is specifically randomized to give a random number of eyes, and it's unsettling.
Especially right now when they're kind of Googling all over there. That's some fun times.
That's our first small key to pop. So Ricky actually could take this over to Turtle Rock. We know that's a crystal. It's only got the one key though, so maybe not.
Yeah, we know there's one in the purple chest, so there's two out in the world somewhere so far.
And we just see two small keys on and in Spectacle Rock. Only have access to the one without the mirror.
Yeah, as our tracker Leoria points out, technically we could kill Ganon now with 3 crystals, but there's not a bomb big enough in the world there to blow open that tower to get into Ganon. So they're still going to have to get all 7 crystals. Ooh, as Vortex takes a fall right in front of that chest. It's going to set him back a little bit because he still has to clear a couple rooms full of wild enemies here. Rooms like this second Misery Mire room get a little bit crazier, more time-consuming in Enemizer, of course.
Yeah, this one actually was fairly tame. I think it just had a bunch of Ropas and maybe a shade or two.
Yeah, seems like it seems like he's happy to use Bombos or some sort of medallion too to clear it if he needs to. I've seen Ricky going at super speed. That's a nice trick. If you've got a hook shot, you can do an item dash with a hook shot on a ladder. You can also do like a spin dash kind of trick to get a full speed once you have the boots.
Yeah, a stopover at Spike Cave here for Ricky makes perfect sense. before he heads into, either Mire or Turtle Rock, wherever he's going to end up.
Vortex forgot to hit the switch there. Sometimes you get them. When you die or reset the dungeon, sometimes you forget whether the switches were hit or not. Ooh, it's the mirror. All right, I feel good about that then, because Misery Mire had some good progression there.
Yeah. So we've got 2 key items across these 2 different players. Ricky found that hammer over in Agina, which he was not happy to see because it was a Sphere 0 check or Sphere 1 check. And then Vortex following the limited places that were open to get that mirror.
So one question for Vortex here, he's continuing to check the big chest and this other small chest, but do you just leave since this is a pennant dungeon? You've got a major progression. Do you continue? Yep, he's going to leave with that mirror now and not fight Vitrius. Let's see if he goes over to Agina to make this check. Oh, he's setting up to flute away.
Oh no.
No, go back.
He's thinking about it. Okay, so maybe he wants to check out things like Checkerboard Cave and Dip Desert.
Can do Desert Palace too. Yeah, I mean not even Dip. He can just do Desert because the big key will be inside Desert Palace, and they do have the small key from really early in the game, so this is a clearable one, and it is the other red crystal, so that could be relevant. I mean, we know it's relevant for a sword, but it could, there's still another check there as well. One thing that can often happen if you find yourself watching runners and you go, oh, why are they doing that? Remember that the Enemizer aspect of this game just really changes how you view the game. It puts so much more mental energy kind of going on where you have to be thinking about how do I beat these enemies? How do I deal with these rooms? You get a lot less autopiloting, from things you've done hundreds of times. So sometimes that happens where you'll forget Agina or some other checks just because of the sheer madness that's happening in the game.
Two big keys on the 2 screens. One vanilla, one not. So still adding to our vanilla key total. Not a setting, it's just a curiosity here in this seat.
Hey, some wall masters finally. One of the craziest parts of Enemizers, you could get wall masters everywhere, and you don't ever know they're coming until you hear that falling sound of doom. Little tip is if you are in an Enemizer situation, there's ether that's going to get us into Turtle Rock. If you go into a room and there aren't any enemies there, or there's not as many as there should be, you've either got a Stealthos, a Shadow, or the dreaded Wall Master is about to come down on you. And since this is an Enemizer with a Ganon's Tower climb involved, some of the worst things that can happen, not to curse anybody here with the commentator's curse, but there could be wall masters near the top of the tower, like a mini Helmspur Cave room, sending you all the way back. So got to be really careful about what enemies can be in the room and the counts.
So Ricky picks up that mirror out of the compass chest in Misery Mire. We'll also see how far back he goes. He does have that advantage of having a hammer, but you still need flippers, and no, that's it. Still need flippers to get through Swamp.
It looks like he's going to keep going because he already checked that. Oh no, actually, he didn't check that small chest on the right side, I believe.
All right, Ricky, what you gonna do? Still got the mirror out. Yep. Not gonna bother with Vitreous today.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, he's leaving just the green pendant and a check on Vitreous. It's not too hard to come back for that later as kind of a last location. Maybe assuming the opponent's going to do the same thing. Probably feeling good because he only needs the flippers. And even though they don't have the lamp, you know, we're pretty confident both of these runners can handle the dark rooms if they need to. You know, if there's not an Aga climb involved, the lamp isn't that important. So even though lamp is technically on the list of things they would need, you know, they're really just looking for flippers here.
Yeah, but as we called out Atomizer having really, really bad dark rooms potentially. We still don't know what's in Dark Cross, and I'm really hoping it's not flippers, which are locking the lamp, because then they would be forced to go in there.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting enough, though, you know, the pod dark rooms tend to be some of the hardest in the game with the turtle rooms. They might be easier in the dark now because you could get an easier enemy to take care of where you don't need to hammer in the dark as much. Oh, and Vortex does get his hammer from Agina, so that'll put him more even up with Ricky on items.
Now, Ricky was able to clear out Tower of Hera by having that hammer. So this will be the second 5/6 crystal he'll pick up after defeating Landmolus. Possibility he could take that into Pyramid Fairy or a Tempered Sword.
So knowing that this is a defeat Ganon situation, you know, and you know there's a Tempered Sword in the Waterfall Fairy, or sorry, the Pyramid Fairy, you know, I think it's probably worth that time to get out of Master Sword, potentially Silverless Ganon, to make sure you at least get the Tempered Sword. You might speed up the climb in Ganon's Tower. There's a few bosses coming up still that are pretty tough, like potentially with Trinex for sure, where a Tempered Sword is going to really help boost some of the speed.
And Ricky also didn't do the big key chest, or sorry, the big chest here in Tower of Hera. Big key is in the basement. Wonder what's in that big chest. There's still a lot of places where the flippers could be. Or, heaven forbid, something leading to the flippers, a book or a powder.
Right, and let's not forget that the big chest in Thieves Town is still live there, because that hammer would definitely have been in their hands logically to do Thieves Town. In fact, I believe Dark Roll access was more on logic to be hammer and glove first before that mid, so gotta take that into consideration too, but it could just be nothing as well. Vortex doing some neat strats there with throwing out a hook shot while he's holding the sword out to not get hit by Moldorm and be able to make that finishing blow to get that pod key and that red crystals. So now we'll see if Vortex wants to either go to Turtle Rock yet already with only one key. That's a little not really enough to go in there. He might try to go to the Pyramid Fairy now that he's got both red crystals.
Can you remind me where we found Ether? Because Vortex has it, Ricky does not. And that's your key to Turtle Rock.
Ether was in that big chest that
right.
he skipped, so that's pretty important now that hopefully he'll go back in and check. As Vortex accidentally runs into that tunnel there. That is one of the side effects of having the spin speed or the hookshot speed. You go a little fast, a little hard to control. Sometimes you just go a little too far away from the ladder there, but it's back on track, checking the Spectral Rock keys. And Ricky does have Ether, so he's all set for that. So let's see what's going on next here. Maybe a pod play. Well, not a pod play because this is too far away. But
no,
he's
going to get the pyramid.
I don't. We've seen the pyramid itself, right? Isn't there? Was that just rupees? I think
it was just rupees.
Yeah, so this is a good play to me. Being able to get that tempered sword for lots of big bosses coming up and the climb, it's just worth the time. Plus, a pod key, something good could be on that right side of, the other, not the right side, but the other chest in Pyramid Fairy.
For all the weaving and separation, these two are incredibly close right now.
And chat pointing out still that Zora is there. We've had a lot of vanilla items here. Maybe the randomizer is saying, hey, maybe there's some vanilla flippers too.
We haven't had to check K45 until now. So there's the flippers.
Yeah, this makes sense though that mirror locking either that or Graveyard Ledge could have been big, so that's a big play for Vortex. We'll have to see if he's going to also go get his big bomb here too, since he's in the neighborhood.
I would guess that he'll probably. Well, I was going to guess he was going to go do Swamp, but he headed up to the bomb shop here.
Not sure how that statue hit itself under the bush there, but sometimes that happens. Looks like Ricky's gonna check Agana, the castle tower for those two checks as well. Not gonna find the flippers though, but we'll have to see. Still haven't found any mail upgrades or silvers or half magic, so we'll have to see if those are even in the pool.
Oh, Vortex was trying to pull off a little bit of tech here and lost the bomb. So gotta go rebuy it. Yeah, if you dash, you'll lose it, but there are some techs that you can use to dupe or recover the bomb. So here's Ricky in the Aga Dark room. This looks like fun.
And nothing for value there. It's just junk in the tower. It is nice though with Enemizer though, the enemies appear in the dark. You don't get that in the dark rooms in the normal game. So you do at least get to see what's coming after you. Both runners taking advantage of that fairy, filling up their bottle for a blue. That is randomized each game for the two fairies, Waterfall and Pyramid. Sometimes you get a B, sometimes you get magic. Really a chance for anything there.
So here's the thing with Vortex. He's in item go mode, but we still don't know what that last crystal is. It could be ice or it could be pod. And we only have the one pod key.
Yeah, but the nice thing is he is able to clear Swamp Palace, so that would be the best place to go for anything. Even if you don't get any information, that's on your list of places you got to beat anyway. You might as well go do that next.
Yeah, Ricky, $20 richer, but a lot angrier, having spent the time going through the dark crofts in the dark.
And I have to check my math still on the Ganon's Tower, but I think They still need one more small key at least, I think, to be able to clear everything down there. There's still a question of, since the big key for Ganon's Tower will be in Ganon's Tower, how many small keys do they need to bring with them to be able to make sure they can get all the way through? That, of course, depends on where the big key actually is. You know, if it's pretty early, that's fewer keys, of course.
Yeah, so they've got 2. You're suggesting they need 3. There are 4, I believe. But with, you know, they should be all right.
Maybe. Yeah, you get 3 on the way if you clear the whole ground floor. Oh, there's a lamp in the entrance of Swamp Palace, so that'll be a nice pickup for both runners to clear Turtle Rock with that, as well as any other places they need to go. Pod especially.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's what Vortex is still looking for, is these Pod Dark Palace keys. So normally a room full of Penguigators and an anti-fairy, 2 rollers, a big spike, a fire bar. Yep.
That's brutal. That's a nightmare. All he wants to do is get to the icebreaker room. He's going to have to come back, too, to get to icebreaker after hitting the switch up here. Unless he decides to, maybe it might be easier to take a bomb jump path, but probably not.
It's certainly an option.
Keep in mind that, you know, we know where the flippers are, but Ricky doesn't. They can't be here because he needed the flippers logically to be in this dungeon. We don't know if this dungeon is a crystal or a pendant, so it's, you know, unclear. It sounds like he just took a guess on between this and Pod, not having any keys for Pod. Or just having 1 key, so we'll have to see what happens. If there's anything of value, you know, if we're in regular inventory, then maybe there's silvers or half magic or something. But other than a potential crystal, there's not going to be much here.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're in Ricky's position and you know looking for those flippers, they're not going to be here, might be a better idea just to rush the boss, and hopefully that's your crystal. And I don't know if you saw that, but it was very tricky to do that icebreaker for a couple reasons. One, he had to burn another blue potion, but the other, the roller from the previous room was heading over there.
So now with 2 pod keys, ooh, that Wallmaster is scary there. With 2 pod keys, you know, he is able to rush the boss, Helmsword King, if this pans out to just be a pendant. So at least that's going to have some value in speeding up the end for Ricky. Of course, if this is a crystal, it's even better. But he is going to Ice Tea, it looks like.
The only way he could rush Helmsword is if he finds Big Key along the way. Shooter room, map chest, or the ledge.
Yes, you're right. The key sanity in my head is definitely a thing.
Yeah, because we know that it's only MCS, not full key sanity.
And as we see, yet another boss room totally screwed up by the Enemizer coating. It is full of water on Vortex's side. You just can't see it. As you see the heart floating in mysterious invisible water there as he gets another crystal.
So that's another pod key pickup. So let's see if this is a crystal or a pendant here in ice. That's going to really determine what the next step is. Because we don't have enough TR small keys to finish it out either. So you're not going to waste the time heading up the tower. Ricky still needs to get the flippers off of K45.
Ricky making sure he can get some safeties by grabbing a fairy here in the pits, the pot pits. It's a good play since I don't think they have a bug net, right? Nope, no bug net. Just being able to get some refills there.
Yeah, unfortunately had to burn both of his blue potions on the room just before Icebreaker.
And as you see Vortex kind of falling back in the water, if you have the flippers and you try a water walk, the game will check that you have the flippers when you hit the shallow water, and you'll revert back to the normal flipper swimming state. That's what happened there. He went to go get a quick run, went into the shallow part, but he's heading into Ice Palace now too. So yeah, worst case scenario, if it's a pendant, Ricky's going to have a little bit of time to catch up, hopefully find the flippers while Vortex finishes this potentially pendant dungeon. So it'll all come down to see what's on Cold Stare here in a second. Also, we do know, I think we know this is not hard item pool because there was a heart on Argus based on how many hearts that Ricky had already obtained. Unless we've missed a count on the number of heart pieces he's gotten.
Yeah, and there's blue mail as well.
Oh, right. Duh. Thanks.
So there's a hint. So that would mean that silvers and half magic are somewhere in the item pool. We just haven't found them yet.
And Ricky kind of going in circles here. I don't think he has a way to make it back to Cold Stare from here, does he? Oh yeah, he can go back through the left now. Okay. Just gotta watch out for those giant spikes, though. Lots of pain in these rooms.
Oh. Yeah, he's gonna dip here. He's gonna dip out of there. I mean, he got enough Palace of Darkness small keys to work with it, if that's our crystal. So this is actually a really good move if this is a pendant in Ice Palace.
The question is, does he just go back to Ice Palace and try to complete it now, or is he going to try something else?
No, here's the bot play. Now, he only had one pod key going into Ice Palace, which are flipper locked, right? So he should be able to realize that if he opens, more than one door, flippers are not going to be behind there. There's a nice mail upgrade. Vortex is going to have to be real careful here as he is about to enter the Cold Stare fight.
And you'll see here the next room and pod that Ricky's going into. not going to be mimics. It's going to be something else that's beatable without arrows. It's one of the nice quality of life improvements with Inamizer. So you'll be able to come in here whenever you want. I'm not sure how that affects the logic. I can't remember if that's still a logical play. Do you know, Lumaga?
I believe in Inamizer, it does adjust the logic. So you could get a bow on Armos, right? And that could be your first bow.
Well, there's the book. Hopefully this doesn't send Ricky into the tablet checking mode. Again, because we know that K45 is where he needs to get those flippers.
And it's a pendant. So our last crystal is Palace of Darkness.
And again, keep in mind that there was only one key coming into this, if you count out Ice Palace. So it'll be interesting to see where the big key is, if it needed to. It looks like he's going to have to use 2 keys for sure. So depending on where that one of those other 2 keys are in the world, this might have been a required Ice Palace tip.
Well, I don't believe we saw the Stalfos basement, which does not require a key if you go to the right side. But here's our first use of a key getting into the back here. Basically, basement and Stalfos basement will be the 2 that are still accessible for Ice Palace to be not necessary.
A nice Turok key pickup. That's going to be really helpful. He still has to turn in the purple chest, I believe, for that second one. Or did he do that already?
No, we saw Vortex do that, but Ricky has not done purple chest. So he's trying to save a key, not having to go through the harmless hellway. So he can get back to that Stalfos basement, it looks like.
Yeah, one of the awkward things here is if you come from the north, or come from the top of this room, to reset it, you've got to leave the super tile by going downstairs. Where if you just go south, you're off that super tile. It'll reset the room, the bridge. So as we have both runners in pod now, for this last crystal, or last known crystal, definitely give each runner a follow as a thanks for all the awesome race that we're getting to watch, Vortex and Ricky. And you can see their Twitch channels in the chat now.
Ooh, just makes it through. Okay, so we got a back check here from Ricky, trying to get the hammer jump. And we got the front here, VortexofDoom found a piece of heart. Let's see if this is our big key. It is. Okay, so pod was then accessible. Was it beatable without these flippers?
Depends if there was one more key somewhere we didn't see before this in the world. Which I don't. Zora maybe has a small key to pod. We're not sure.
That could be.
Because you would have needed 2, and they only had the 1 that we saw. But there's still 2 other keys in the world, because I think there's 5 keys total. Six keys total. And chat pointed out, yes, it's true. You could have done the right side, the quote-unquote bulllock side, twice to do that if you had to. Just not go opening that entrance door.
Yeah, that's true. However, the randomizer expects you to use keys very liberally, so it doesn't expect those types of shenanigans to be in logic.
But unfortunately, Ricky, fiddling around here in the dark maze, where we know there's not going to be a big key, has sort of lost the little advantage he had by falling in an Ice Palace. As Vortex takes advantage of this time to head on towards Helm's King. Also, Ricky still has to complete Swamp Palace and find the flippers, so Vortex with quite a bit of a lead now, because all that's remaining is Turtle Rock.
Well, and Ganon Tower. Which, as a reminder, right, this is a 7-3 seed, so despite the promise of a quick Ganon fight, we have to get all 7 crystals to even enter Ganon himself.
Right, and we do get to do the old good Ganon Tower Big Key game, since we know the Big Key will be in Ganon's Tower itself. So that'll be fun. And for those of you just joining us or coming recently, this is essentially a seven crystal Ganon, like Lumaga said. It's 3 crystals to defeat Ganon, but you had to do the 7 to get to Ganon's Tower. But it's Indomizer, no boss shuffle, with elements of key sanity. So the small keys, compasses, and maps have all been shuffled all over the world, but the big keys are found in their normal dungeons. So kind of key sanity Indomizer sounds like a fun mode. But one problem we're going to face here is Turtle Rock is only going to be completable if they have the 3 keys. We see Ricky needs to find another Turtle Rock key. Hopefully it's here on. We know it's not going to be here. Hopefully it's somewhere. And Vortex is going to need that purple chest and an additional one. I'm sorry, he's going to need that other key that Ricky caught earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to route this, how he's going to be able to get very far into it. And that big key placement is going to play a big role in how many he's going to need to get through. If he has to spend all the keys to get to the lava chest, he's going to need all 4 keys anyway.
As a runner, I'd say, I hope that isn't the case. But as a viewer and commentator, man, I really hope that's the case. I want more rando. Let's keep this going. It is, highly possible that one of the keys is in the dungeon. Just because they're kind of a key sanity mode there doesn't mean it's not going to be in there. It happens often that you'll find a vanilla key, a small key.
Right.
But Vortex needs 2, so 2 in addition to the one he has. He can take that one from the pokey. Again, if he doesn't have to go to the lava chest, to the big key chest, that's going to be one he can take. But he cannot get to Trinex at this point with the keys that he has. Oh, he has 2 keys. Still, he'll needs 1 more at least to get to Trinex. So he can get to Laser Bridge with the keys he has, as long as he doesn't go to the lava chest.
Yep, and as long as he doesn't have to spend that key.
So this would be really interesting from a race perspective if there is not a key on the way. Let's see what this one is. Okay, Dark Palace key. So because Ricky does have that purple chest key that Vortex doesn't, if Vortex has to leave the dungeon to go find a key, that could give Ricky the time he needs to beat Swamp Palace. Hopefully he finds the flippers here in a second. It could have a big impact on the race. We'll have to see.
Yeah, don't count out either of these runners, right? This is a tough seed for both of them, and it's going to come down to the end, right? Little decisions here and there are now going to kind of creep up on both of them.
Yeah, and as chat pointed out earlier, it is kind of nice that Ricky got the book in pod. That might push him towards Bombo's tablet, which hopefully makes it worth going to K45 in the process. It's kind of a double check there. Anything that's going to push him towards K45. It's kind of the opposite as earlier. Ricky had checked Agina in the middle of the race and found the hammer. Vortex took some more time to get to that. Oh, and look at this room, the chain chomps. I mean, is this not the best room in Enemizer ever now?
Yeah, this is a good one. Like we were saying, some of these do get a little bit hairy, but you end up with a nice atomized room. And Vortex warping out. So he did that because we can deduce that the big key is going to be in its vanilla location, which is not surprising given the other big keys that have been in their vanilla locations too.
So I got my wish on this one to see all of the rando with the 4 keys. But it is interesting, why not continue to make the checks anyway? He's got to come back in for sure, right? So we know there's a key somewhere else. He's going to make a play here to pod to check the back. So it'll be interesting to see where he's going to go as we see Ricky going into Turtle Rock anyway. He's going to learn the same thing. But he might go a little farther thinking he can get the flippers out of this.
So you're asking why not check more in Turtle Rock anyway?
Right, and I think we're going to see Ricky do that, imagine, thinking he's going to find the flippers here potentially. Where Vortex was kind of coming back later, he's going to make those checks anyway. Might as well go find one more key.
Yeah, that's a huge gamble at this point, because you're going to need to spend all those keys, including the pokey key, to get your big key. That's the last possible place it can be in TR. And then, all that's left would be Big Chest, Mimic Cave, and Crystal Roller. Right? You're really leaving it up to Sahabat to have rolled you a seed where he puts one of those TR keys in one of those 3 chests.
Yeah, he could have checked the Crystal Roller chest as well. Oh no, if he would have gotten the big key, because you could do Big Chest, Mimic Cave, Crystal Roller would have been as far as he could gotten.
Ooh, there's silvers out of that big chest. Ricky did not get those because he did not get the big key from Stalfo's basement before heading up with the hammer young.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge time changer, especially in the climb and, of course, on Ganon to make that easier. Something that I wouldn't expect Ricky to ever get. There's no way he's coming back to pod for that one check. I shouldn't say no way, but that would be really out of the way, especially when he's still looking for flippers.
Yeah, and I think we already deduced that flippers couldn't be too deep into pod. If they were there at all. We know they're in cave 45.
So Ricky's continuing on. He knows that the big key is here. Let's see if he's going to grab that now, or maybe try to make a... Well, he's going to have it. You can't really get farther without the big key, so... You can't get to Laser Bridge without it, so that extra key, trying to use that, isn't going to help him.
He's doing it anyway.
So he's going to miss out. Yep, he's going to miss out on the Crystal Roller check if he wanted to do that, because that's behind a big key. So he's only going to be able to do 2 checks here now. Mimic Cave. Oh no, just the one, because he doesn't.
Mimic Cave.
He didn't get the big key. I mean, it's not too late for him to turn back and go grab that, but, you know. And Turtle Rock and pod key logic, especially in a key sanity mode, is very difficult, and it's one of those things, you know, if you're new to that mode or if you're thrown off by Inimizer, you know, it's hard to remember the number of keys you need based on the situation, because it changes. As you see, Mimic Cave has also been changed a little bit for Inimizer. Since there's no mimics, you can't make them come out to fight you. So the developers made some holes for you to get to all the enemies, like the shadows here.
All right, last-ditch effort for Ricky yields him a compass. Vortex did grab one more key, so he's able to go back further.
So you have Vortex, if he goes to get that big key, which I assume he would, will chain chomp in the worst place, right in the middle of that roller coaster. He'll be able to make it all the way to Laser Bridge, hoping to find an extra key.
The hard realization that you don't have the big key to continue.
Yeah, and chat pointed out muscle memory is really tough to get over. When you've played, you know, maybe these runners probably have played over 100 open seeds alone. You know, so having the muscle memory to not have to deal with key sanity or Inimizer and all these things, and here they all are thrown together. You know, who knows what's happening with their planning and the routing.
Yeah, it's almost easier if it's full key sanity. MCS, right? You got to remember, you know, that it gives enough of a twist that you know you're going to have to go certain places and pretty much discover everything. But remembering, hey, big key is going to be in a certain spot.
Now, Vortex did the purple chest, right? I can't recall that far back.
So since we talked about it last, I still don't think he has. No, Vortex did. Ricky did not. Hey, there's half magic.
So that's one tablet. So if Ricky hopefully wants... Oh, he's going to go check that basement. Or they get the big key from the basement to go get the big chest.
Yep, and I think next on his list is probably going to be Thieves Town big chest. So he's going through all the places that were skipped by both runners, actually. Looking for his last item. Maybe another key for Turtle Rock.
This is a nice break here. We call it the coffee break, tea break, whatever you want. You know, if you just flip that switch with the bomb when you're standing on the peg, you can just chill out here while all the tiles fly around you. No problem. You get to have a little mental break, think about what you're going to do next. It's a nice little save. So big chest and Turtle Rock, just a Skullwoods key that's useless. Still get Crystal Roller Room, and we're going to see Laser Bridge. Hoping for that fourth small key. I gotta think it's in here, right? Like, could be on Bombo's tablet though.
Yeah, still plenty of places for it to be, and we're gonna have to explore all of them by the time this is done. So we have the Hera big key in hand. Ricky with another Hera pot. Looks like he's got that right pixel. Just a bit off. So he'll try for the other setup, is a spin speed.
Vortex with only one heart though has to be careful. I'm not sure what's in his bottles. Hopefully there's a fairy. But he is going to make use... Ooh, as he does not make it to the safety door.
Oh, well that hurts, but he does start at the big chest room.
That's right. So he does get the half safety door. That's good. Oop.
All right. No success on the Harapop, so we'll do this the old-fashioned way. So Jaws, we got major holiday Thanksgiving coming up in the U.S. Tomorrow. I think I will be saying that I am thankful I did not play this seed.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm with you there. I'm thankful I get to watch this though. This is really exciting and entertaining for me at least.
All right, let's try Laser Bridge one more time, and just go take the safety door Vortex. There you go. So this must be Graveyard Ledge. Yep, this is Graveyard Ledge for
Could
Ricky.
be here.
Yep.
It'd be pretty huge for Ricky if there's a Turok key in here. Ooh, but it's not on either place. Okay. Bombo's tablet, probably.
Bombo's tablet or Thieves basement?
Left side swamp?
Oh, this just took a turn for the worst for both of these runs.
With Ricky, if Ricky can find those flippers and head to Swamp Palace, maybe he thinks about left side swamp. Before Vortex gets a chance to find it. Because Vortex looks like he's going to go up, maybe do the Hera basement too, Ether tablet. Dark Cross? I don't think I saw anybody Dark Cross.
No, Dark Cross, Ricky ended up doing it. It was just a big 20, so you might see Vortex head back there.
Is this Ricky doing the purple chest? Which he'll find... Oh no, hammer pegs.
Oh, yes. And did he did not save Scum his mushroom, but Vortex did. So if there's something on Magic Bat,
Vitreous is still an option to them. I mean, Vitreous is a real option, right? We don't know either where this last key is.
Yeah, and Saha by way of Vitreous and Green Pendant.
And this is good because Ricky picking up this purple chest, so obviously we know there's a key there, but it's going to set him up to do the Cave 45 mirror, which is going to give him the flippers. He's going to be right next to Swamp Palace, so there is a good shot now for Ricky to get some time to catch up at least. Really, I guess we're hoping for left side swamp as Vortex takes a death inside Spike Cave. So Ricky will have his third TR small in a second with that purple chest. Hopefully, as chat's pointed out, that these flippers and being in proximity to Swamp Palace pushes them into Swamp Palace instead of having them go back to dip for Laser Bridge. That would really be a not great situation.
And here's the play for Dark Cross for Vortex. Got to do. Oh, he has the lamp actually. He picked that up. Ricky did not have the lamp, but the enemies weren't too terrible.
So we've got a couple things. We're just looking for a small key to Turtle Rock. If you just joined us, Ricky's going to get one with the purple chest. That's only the third one. He needs one more. They both need one more. We've got available Bombo's tablet. We've got Left Side Swamp. We've got Vitreous. We've got the big key in Thieves Town. Anything else I'm forgetting? Zora? Has Zora been checked?
Zora has not been checked. So we still have Zora. Hour and 50 minutes into this.
We've got some legitimately live checks here. Here's Bombo's tablet. That could be a big one. The 3 is correct. He does have, that's his 3rd one. We need a 4th one because the lava chest has to be checked. So you got to have all 4 of the keys to be able to complete the dungeon the way it is.
Yeah, and Vortex has not done these 2 checks in Castle Tower. We know that there's nothing of value up here. I think arrows are going to be in the 2nd chest.
And we know that Vortex has the silvers from the big chest in pod, which Ricky does not have. There's no reason to go back to pod unless he really thinks there's going to be that Turlock small key that he missed. But we'll have to see if, left side swamp is a wide open option here for Ricky as he goes through Swamp Palace for the first time.
Yeah, and Vortex has already done it, so it would be a double dip for him. Would lose time on that double dip. I want to point out, this is why you play to the end. You play till someone finishes, because both of these runners have had some difficulties here and there, and each one is probably wondering, how have I not lost yet? You always play until the end. You never know what's happening.
Looks like we're going to get a Zora check from Vortex. That again, any of these checks could be huge, so we'll have to see who's going to get that last Turok key. Ricky does have to complete Swamp Palace just for the crystal itself, so we will know in a second here if Vortex has his Go Mode key.
Yeah, just one more thing to check off. If it's not.
Ricky also has Cold Stare as an option to him, even though we know Cold Stare does not have the key. So there are some things that could influence, and let's see what Zora has. Ooh, nope, just $20. So Ricky of Kokiri potentially with a really good chance to score that 4th key to Turtle Rock if it's in the left side of Swamp and if he decides to go that way. As I said, we still have Thieves Town Big Chest as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's out there.
I think we've covered it. You got, what did you say? TT Big Chest and Saha, Vitreous, left side Swamp.
Vitreous, right? Vitreous will have 2 items because of the drop itself off of the boss, and looks like Vortex might be trying to check that big chest in Thieves Town here. Yeah, Vortex did not do left side Swamp when he was in here earlier. So we'll see.
Neither runner finished out Misery Mire.
Vitreous having the green pendant, giving Saha a chance for an item. Looks like, okay, Ricky's going to do left side Swamp, so about the same time we might see the big chest of Thieves. Oh, okay, so Vortex still has to do hammer pegs, I think.
And he has the mushroom, so he could still fake powder this.
Yeah, and that would really only work if, that would work if Powder's here on left side Swamp, for example, leading us to Magic Bat, so that could be an interesting skip. Man, this is exciting either way.
That BMOS in the middle of this field of pegs is really causing some trouble.
Yeah, so Ricky trying to get the diver down using the cane here. I'm not sure if the block was placed correctly there. Yep, it looked like it was a little too low. He might have it this time here. Yep, and there he goes. Yep. Diver down's a great trick you can use in Swamp Palace twice, once on the left side, once in the back. You can do it with a bomb or a cane. It just sort of tricks the game into thinking that you're walking in the bottom of the lake there to be able to access things a little quicker than you would do the vanilla way. It's definitely worth learning.
All right, 2 very important checks coming up. We're looking for 1 Turtle Rock Small. Left side Swamp is one of the available locations. Vortex has still not done it, and Ricky here about to check him.
Vortex looking like he's going to make the Vitreous play for those 2 checks. All right, see, there's a key. Turaki! There it is, left side Swamp in the west chest.
Oh, that's huge.
So Ricky still has to beat Argus, and then he can head back to Turtle Rock, clear it. He's in go mode, doesn't need anything. So unless he's hoping for silvers, he doesn't even need to look at Laser Bridge. Meanwhile, Vortex is going to take the time to get through Misery Mire, just kind of go mode clear it through to Vitreous. Vitreous will drop, who knows, maybe nothing, probably. A value. There's nothing really left in the game. We've seen both red and blue mail, silvers, and half magic. There's not much left.
Yeah, pretty much junk or powder, bugnet.
Powder, that's true. So we'll see likely Vortex beating Vitreous, probably going to check Saha, which is going to give Ricky a huge advantage of time to try to catch back up here by clearing Argus while he's trying to do a diver down again.
Yeah, that anti-fairy was not going to let him do diver down very easily, so he's going to just take his time.
Yeah, and hopefully knowing that there's nothing left except silvers, and again, his perspective, it might just be faster to do this the vanilla way and skip that flooded room entirely.
I think Vortex was trying to set up a bit of spooky action. All right, with silvers, Vortex is going to have a real easy time here on Biddy. Unfortunately, won't drop anything except this green pendant, and Saha will not have what he needs, that last TR small.
And while we watch this epic boss fights on both screens, don't forget to follow these runners, Ricky and Vortex, and his appreciation for them to giving us such an awesome race today. You can see their channels in the chat there. So Ricky is ready to go mode, fully go mode with all the keys he needs. Should be heading back to Total Rock, being able to clear that as quickly. He did not get the big key right, so he still has to go get that big key off the lava chest.
Yep. Yeah, he did skip that lava chest big key location and went a little bit farther than he was able to, but with enough small keys in hand, he'll grab that and clear out Trinex. Vortex maybe wondering what is the last thing he can do. He's wandering for a bit, but see where he flutes. He's going to turn in the green. Yep.
So he didn't do the Thieves Town big chest, right? He just did hammer pegs and then fluted away, I think.
Yep.
So the question for Vortex, again, from his perspective, is, was to go back to Thieves Town or to go to Left Side Swamp. I don't think there's anything else available for him at all. Maybe he's going to make the Thieves Town play here. Yeah, for those of you who joined us late, the hammer was found in Nagina's cave, but neither runner found that until about halfway through the race. So they had already both cleared Thieves Town, missing the opportunity to get the big chest, even though they had the small key that they need to get to the big chest really early in the game. And we do know that this is a... so he's going to get his butter sword here, since we know it's vanilla swords. This might be either forgot that it's vanilla swords or it's a might as well get it while I'm here type situation.
I guess the latter, just because you got everything else, and this will make something just a little bit easier. You don't know how many how many swords your opponent got, and well, or it could just be for fun. Yeah, if you also tuned in late, this is a 7 crystal entrance to GT, 3 crystal defeat Ganon, so essentially it's a 7/7. All right,
not
Ricky,
only
go ahead.
I'll say not only a 7/7, but we need the full grip of keys for Turtle Rock, so it sent them all over the place. It's almost 100% clear seed. Plus, we don't know where Ganon's Tower's big key is. It will be in Ganon's Tower, but we still have that action coming up after presumably Ricky finishes Turtle Rock first here.
Yep, stay tuned. We will play the game. Promise.
On his Vortex also checked the Aga Tower check, so it's been a virtual all dungeon seed in a sense.
So here's the play the thieves down, right? Vortex just flipping the switch so he can get to the basement, and this was available very early. Ricky slashing away that key. This was available very early with that Sphere 1 hammer, but neither runner had it at the time, and now Vortex just hoping that it's here. All right, all that's left for Vortex is left side swamp. Is that correct?
I believe so. He did Graveyard Ledge, I think, so that might be it. And what's unfortunate for Vortex, going to the mountain. Not sure what he's left up here, though.
He also did not do the Hera basement, so he's going to do Hera basement and look for that big chest.
And he did do Spike Cave. I remember him. He took a death there to not save and quit. I think he's still trying to preserve the mirror. Oh no, right? I think he still has the mirror available.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I looked away. Look at this crystal roller on Ricky. This is the worst place for crystal rollers. But he's gotten out of that area. That was a little gambit there of crystal rollers, not letting him leave the little platform there. So we'll see if he's going to check laser bridge. Nope, doesn't need it today. He's ready to just continue on.
All right, and after all this, we are, armed to the teeth. Ricky should have no real issue here with Trinex, and then as soon as that Trinex starts exploding, I think we can start the big key guessing game.
It's very exciting. We get to play that in Mystery Week. It's not a very common thing this week. It's not how many different possibilities there are. And both runners have 2 Ganon's Tower small keys, so they will have enough to access the whole ground floor of checks. And the unfortunate part for Vortex as well is left side swamp as a double dip is kind of a trouble. But go ahead and explain that game for us, Lumaga.
Sure thing. Well, there are 22 checks in the basement of Ganon's Tower where the GT big key can be. If you think you know where it is, put in a number 1 through 22 into the chat, and as soon as we see RickyofKokiri enter Ganon's Tower, we will stop the bot. Guesses will be locked in, and if you did guess correctly, you'll get a handful of internet points.
Sweet, sweet internet points. What I was saying is Vortex has the unfortunate aspect of it being a double dip, so he cannot use Diver Down to speed up that process. He's doing a vanilla way of left side swamp, the longest it's going to take. So this is really a huge, huge advantage for Ricky. To be fair, though, that Vortex does have silver arrows, so once he gets to the climb and up to Ganon, he will have an easier time. The question is, will he be able to get through left side swamp to get that Turtle Rock key, clear through Turtle Rock in time to catch up to Ricky? And I'm just not sure here. So it's kind of Ricky's race at this point, but anything is possible. It's Inamizer. Who knows what's up there on that tower? We're going to see here.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's going to really throw this is I think the enemies that Ricky's going to encounter. And you mentioned silvers. Vortex also has that butter sword off of the pad.
That was a vanilla Ganon's Tower key because we didn't get a message at all. So that was weird. I didn't know that was possible. Coding is fun. But that's 1, technically. It still counts. Heart container for number 2. A piece of heart for number 3. Or 4. I guess 5, so I'm pretty close, but good job. I am 3 good. You're 4 good this time. So 17 wonderful internet points for you.
All right, all that stands between Ricky and Aga is a tower full of randomized enemies.
Well, that could be good or bad.
That should be interesting here in Atomizer.
Makes this extra fun because, again, how many times everybody's been in through this climb. If you're a really regular player of Rando, you've got a muscle memory of, here's the Mimic rooms, here's the Helmasaur room. It's not the case here. You've got to take every room up for itself. So as you see, we've got aggressive guards here instead of Igors. Meanwhile, Vortex making his way through the left side of Swamp.
So, yeah, he's still looking for that last TR small key, which is going to be on the left chest in the left side Swamp. He has exhausted all other options.
Yeah, this was an interesting modified key sanity where we did need all 4 keys, small keys for Turtle Rock before you go into Turtle Rock. So a lot of chasing around the world. Vortex having kind of a late lead in the game up until that find where Ricky was able to do the left side Swamp when he went into Swamp Palace the first time, finding that 4th key, even though he found the flippers pretty late in the game. So Lumaga, as you were saying earlier, anything's possible. Play to the end. You can see what can happen with lead changes as we go.
Yeah, the lead changes have been just insane here. And you already called out a few of them. I'm sure these two aren't going to really want to watch this one back, but this is one heck of an exciting race to have seen.
Yeah, one of the key points as Ricky goes into Landmo 2, and this wasn't a boss shuffle, so Landmo 2 is here for sure, just like all the other bosses in the right spot, despite it being an Atomizer seed. It's just one of the big turning points early was Ricky found the hammer in Agina's cave, and Vortex hadn't gone there for a while, but then it flipped to the other side with the flippers being the same situation, but for the opposite runner. So a lot of back and forth depending on items and accessibility. It's been pretty wild.
All right, so our satisfying rooms are slightly less satisfying due to the Atomizer, but we can get through these nonetheless. Alright, nice, easy little torch room. No fire allowed to throw us off.
I just love seeing that chain jump room. That's one of the most fun rooms in the game with Atomizer, because it's not going to be chain jumps at least. And there's probably nothing worse than chain jumps.
Well, you say that now. Let's see if we can find another Atomizer that has something worse than the 2 chain jumps. 2 Hinoxes wouldn't be nice.
Yeah, and that's a good plug for week 7 of the league, because every race that week is going to be Atomizer, as we talked about earlier. So you're going to see 2 versus 2 co-op info share as Ricky takes care of, or is working on Nine Eyes Moldorm 2 here. You're going to see Enemizer 2-on-2, lots of shenanigans with Boss Shuffle on as well. So, if you like this kind of shenanigans that's happening, definitely tune in on week 7. This is week 5, so 2 weeks from now. Oh, and the big spike in the way of the... Let's see, it's how you normally take that room, but not today.
Yeah, he was ready to dash right up there, right into the spike, but makes it through, and now on to Aga.
Yeah, that spike got in 3 for 3 on that room on hits.
All right, Vortex with his last key in hand, headed to the back, headed to try next.
Ooh, just narrowly avoiding that wall master or floor master, whichever master it is. Just the master of taking you back to the beginning of the level. So now we're back to a normal game for Ricky here. Agatu and Ganon are just like they always are. So it's silverless, but he's got Tempered Sword, he's got some safeties. As he finishes off Agatu and will wait for his Flute Bird to take him to the big pig battle. And as we see Vortex with the Butter Sword cleaning through with some easy sword action there to finish Trinex. He'll he's gonna have a hard time now, but hopefully he'll go to left side, be able to find his big key on that fourth check in the third check in Dark Magician Room, as Ricky is ready to jump into the Ganon fight. Now remember, this was a flute and boots start. Can you imagine how long the seed would have been without those?
Well, yeah, I think the difference is marginal. Just looking at the layout of this was nasty.
Well, Ricky does have to be careful. He's one hit away. He does have red mail, which is going to be helpful. He does have the cape, and I believe he has full bottles as well, but just have to be careful. I don't think he has a fairy.
Oh, really got to be careful here.
And as many racers know, when you get to the point where you're at Ganon and you notice your opponent hasn't finished yet, bust out those safeties whenever you can. It's more important just to finish it than to finish pretty. You get no points for extra bottles full at the end.
Yep, can't take them with you. All right, phase 3 Ganon finally settles down for a little bit.
Ricky about to get that hint that he missed that pod. There it is. Missed those silvers and pod. But that's okay. Most runners in the league are pretty handily capable of handling a silverless Ganon fight. Vortex is in Dark Magician Room, just about to find his big key and make his climb through the enemized Ganon's tower climb.
All right, not playing aggressive and setting up for triples. Just taking the safe way through Ganon. Worst thing for Ricky, although he's ahead enough, would be a fall, but that would feel really bad for him, especially given the way this seed is played out.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to ask if we can get an interview with both runners at the end, ask them how they felt about where they were. As Ricky finishes up Ganon, all he has to do is cross that bridge to take the win here. Get their GGs in the chat.
GG to Ricky of Kokiri and the Guardians of the Galaxy Brain. Ricky finishes with a time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, 8 seconds. See if we can get him in for an interview.
And that'll move the Guardians of the Galaxy up to 15 points to put them into a tie for third place in the Tower of Hera division with the Meyer Straits. So we'll have to see how they do the rest of the week. Again, this is only the first game between these two teams. So, and we're joined by Ricky. GG.
GG's. I can't. After the things I did in Ice Palace and Pod, and then TR messing with me, I can't believe I won that.
Ricky, I'm going to make this interview real simple. What was the worst part of this scene?
The worst part? Ice Palace. Yeah, Ice Palace was the worst part. I then, I wasn't consistent enough of Hammer Yump, so I messed that up. And then TR just realizing, oh wait, I can't skip Lava Chest. Well, okay. I should have, in retrospect, looking back at it, I knew basically I should have done the mirror check as soon as I got mirror out of Meyer. That would have saved me a whole lot of headache, but I didn't do that. And so that was fun. Well,
I mean, it's funny you just mentioned, that maybe your own individual play in Ice, but there was a lot to choose from here, right? You both got a late Sphere 1 hammer. It was a gamble on what was the last crystal. Was it Cold or was it Halmasaur? And in fact, Ice Palace, Coldster dropped the map to Palace of Darkness. So one way or another, you'd find that out.
Funny.
Yeah, that actually helped you out. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, and we're welcome. Vortex is here as well.
Hello.
GG. We're still watching you finish GT climb.
I thought about calling it, but I was close enough that I decided to finish it out.
So there were two interesting turning points. The lead went back and forth for both of you guys, and maybe you guys can talk a little bit about this. So the first one was neither of you checked Agina until real late. Ricky found the hammer first and had little advantages there, but then Vortex, you found the flippers much earlier than he did, and so that was kind of two back and forth ways. You guys want to talk about kind of your thought process or how you were feeling throughout that race?
Well, one thing that I thought about doing and wish I had done was dipped TR after I did Hera. Just because I didn't know when I was clearing Swamp whether I would need 3 or 4 TR smalls to beat it. It seemed silly to do it without the Tempered Sword that I'd get from Hera, so that's why I was like, I'll go to Pyramid Fairy, and then I just was like, I'll clean up Cave 45 now, because if I wait, I'll never do it, because, if I wait for Flippers to do it or whatever, which wouldn't have worked very well. So I checked it there, and then I went to Swamp, and then, I had both smalls to Ice, so I full cleared that, and then I had most of the keys to Pod, so but at that point, TR was pulling so hard that I went there with 2 smalls, and I quickly realized I need 4. And if I dipped it before I'd come down, done Pyramid Fairy, dipped in, seen where the big key was. If the big key was in front, I could have dipped all the way to Laser Bridge and, played it from there. But if I had dipped it early, I would have known I needed 4, and I would have definitely cleared left side Swamp.
Yeah, Ricky, your thoughts on the hammer and the flipper issues there?
Remind me, where were the flippers?
K45.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so as far as the hammer is concerned, I always put off Agina for far too long, so I was not happy when I saw that, Agina's kind of messed me up again. The flippers, that was entirely on me. I got the mirror out of Meyer, and I was so focused on figuring out whether Pod or Ice Palace were the final crystal that I went and did those and didn't bother with the mirror checks. And Ice Palace tilted me so hard with all those crystal rollers and spike balls and me messing up my routing because of it and running out of potions that I then went to Pod to finalize the crystal count. And at that point, I kind of forgot about mirror checks entirely until I discovered the big key was messed up in Turtle Rock. So, yeah.
and that actually worked out for you a little bit. The fall you took getting to Cold Stare, you got you out of Ice Palace because that would have been wasted time.
This is true. Very true.
And also, because you didn't find the flippers, you couldn't do Swamp Palace. It gave you an incentive at that point, since you had already seen Total Rock. It gave you an incentive to do Left Side Swamp, where Vortex kind of last location that coming back because he had done Swamp Palace so early.
Yeah, true. I mean, at the same time, though, like last season League, I lost a match because I skipped Left Side Swamp, and I have never skipped Left Side Swamp ever again. So, unless I was in true go mode, I would probably have done Left Side Swamp anyway, no matter when I did it.
So tell us how the Inamizer affected how you played the race, besides it just being chaos.
Well, okay, Ice Palace was a major effect. I would have full cleared Ice Palace if it was an Inamizer. But, other than that, and the spike balls everywhere, it didn't really have that much of an effect. I'll be perfectly honest, I forgot again that Eastern Palace did not require a bow because of Inamizer. I always forget that little detail. And I forgot the detail going up, GT with the Mimics. So, it didn't really affect my routing much at all.
Yeah, I was a little bullheaded about Back of Escape early on. I knew I could do it, and I can't remember what I got out of there. Was it
the Fire Rod?
Fire Rod? Fire Rod.
Fire Rod.
So I had that really early, but I really should have checked Smith or Uncle first because I didn't get my first sword until 40 minutes.
Oh,
and I found out it wasn't swordless. Because I was like, well, I'll just check Meyer, see if I can get in. That was my test instead of just doing a quick check at Uncle having grabbed the Smith.
Yeah, we were wondering if you guys were going to check Skull Woods because you were already there with a Fire Rod.
Nah, I wasn't going to risk going all the way to the back. With no sword and...
Yeah.
I didn't want to even deal with the middle. And that made going to the back way less appealing.
In my case, I did Sank Start, went to Kakariko, then I went to South Shore, discovered that mini Moldorm Cave. I was not bothering timing bombs there, and then finally went to Uncle. So I got the sword relatively early, not as early as I should have, though. I should have gone Uncle first. And then with Skull Woods, when I did get to Dark Road, I didn't have Hammer yet, and I didn't want to go to Skull Woods with Fighter Sword and no Hammer, so I did the Smith first to get Master, because I kind of figured it had to be vanilla with Uncle, unless it was a big coincidence. But
all right, so one more question here. So this was game one between these two teams. Who's facing when for the next game?
It's Ohado. Let me see if I can pull it
and
up.
Fred, aka Durf.
Right, so Ohado versus Fred, and I want to say that's not tomorrow, is it?
I think it's Friday, but
Oh, here it is. Friday at 9:10 p.m. Ohado versus Fred, aka Durf.
All right, be sure to look forward to that. It may or may not be as exciting or interesting as this one. It's a mystery, so we'll just have to wait and see. Any final thoughts, Jaws or Ricky, Vortex?
I don't regret skipping Left Side Swamp in this one. The choice I regret is I should have taken the early TR dip to find out how many TR smalls I needed, because that, every choice I made, skipping Graveyard Ledge when I did Pyramid Fairy, all of that was predicated on the idea that I more likely needed 3 TR keys than 4. And if I had just known at that time, I would have made the same dip early, and I would have cleared much more. So that's my takeaway from this one. But GG again, Ricky. This was a heck of a seed.
Yeah, I can't believe I beat you. I went into this thinking, well, the team I'm going up against is 7-1, and we're 4-4 or 3-3, I think it was. I forget the exact number. I'm like, well, we'll see how this goes. I'm expecting to lose, and then I messed up an ice pass. I was like, well, that's it. I just hurry up and finish, Vortex. Get me out of this. And then I end up. I could not believe it. all the way up the gauntlet, and then again, I'm like, come on, you've got to be. How the hell am I ahead? What the heck?
That is one thing we were saying, Ricky, is you never know what's happening on the other player's stream. Always play to the end, right? Because it worked out. All right, real quick, you can see on the screen we've got still plenty of races left this week. Even today, you'll see one on Speed Gaming in, well, about 30 seconds. Forfeiters are us versus We're Buddies, Dataplet versus Fantalis on that one. And then through the rest of the evening on Speed Gaming 2 and Speed Gaming Prime. Also, check us out back here on the League channels for an open match. You've got Chimo versus Hacksaw, the spoiled leftovers, and we will pull Ped for food, versing at 7:10. Be sure to check out the schedule for full details and watch out for more mystery in the end. For our restreamer, Math Girl, our tracker, Leoria of Light, my co-com, Jawsome Sauce, and myself, Lumaga, good night, and keep playing Randomizer.